do anything other than sell anything I possibly can in limited time I have in order to like actually like pay for bills and things like that. And I am not in this for money. I just, my child has support that's court ordered, and non-support in the amount and for the length that it's been past due is a felony on both the state and federal level, and requires that Alex Jones and his attorneys who have been assistive to that crime be arrested, and they should be investigated immediately for serious corporate crimes and constitutional crimes, and for their corrupt acts which have affected and continue to affect many Texas children and parents. This little city of Austin, Texas, these attorneys are think that they can get away with anything, and they fund the campaigns of the judges that they ask to hear their cases, and they fund them above campaign limits in many cases, which is an ethics violation. These attorneys have engaged in countless acts of misconduct and assistance and our party to assistance to crime and fraud. And they are entirely criminal bad actors. I have been saying this for years. I've never been sued for anything that I'm saying. I have demanded that they immediately provide me any retraction, clarification, or correction demand. They have not done it. I am on the space that I'm recording. I'm very distressed. I am. I have been threatened twice last week by Alex Jones. I I cannot. I need people to help me. And I'm a strong lady, and I'm writing the court right now, and all its officers are reminding them of their duty. And this duty, that what they've done, what they've sealed, what they've hidden, has not just affected my family. It's affected other families that are affected by these attorney bad actors and judicial bad actors. And it's affected the nation because it's bolstered and empowered Alex Jones. I have no doubt of it. And I have no doubt that the way that the property that I owned and the things that were done to hide what Alex did to me were real crimes, constitutional crimes, and corporate crimes. I have no doubt. I have no doubt that I was forced to lend Alex Jones a promissory note due to his fraud and crimes, fraudulent statements to obtain a loan, and that he breached that note and sued me so I couldn't recoup on it. I have no doubt about any of this, and I am able to prove up the elements with probative, admissible, verified evidence, and also evidence of my repeat years-long communications and entreaties to the Texas AG, to Sergeant Bircher with the district attorney's office, to the court and its officers, to the attorneys, and to each and every partner of their firms, and each and every attorney and associate and non-lawyer staffer and contractor that works with those firms. I have so much evidence, and I'm hoping that that simply that law enforcement and the Texas Attorney General will enforce the law that it has a duty to enforce. And so I'm out here today saying this. I've recorded the space. I can't tell you how stressed out I really am. And I'm strong, and I'm out there talking, and I've got so many people I want to talk to, and I can't do what my heart tells me to do, and to advocate and to be out there and producing content and informing America and protecting America and from injustices in family court that I know I understand the law because I've had to learn it, because I've had to be self-represented, because I was defrauded and sued for years, to the horror of watching my kids' lives being ruined and their mother taken from them, and their health and all of their talents, and abilities denied, support. And it's just atrocious. But I cannot do anything, because all I do is implore and write in legal verbiage with citation and case law and file, and nobody does anything to help me. And so I'm begging the Department of Justice right now, that I'm begging you. I know that the amount that Alex owes me and the duration for which it's been owed is a felony under federal law. To my strongest belief, I'm going to read the actual law right now. I'm going to pull it up because I've been writing about it to his attorneys and other people. Here's what I read from the Department of Justice's website. Section 228 of Title 18 USC makes it illegal for an individual to willfully fail to pay child support in certain circumstances. For one, an individual is subject to federal prosecution if he or she willingly fails to pay child support that has been ordered by a court for a child who lives in another state, or if the payment is past due for longer than 1 year, or the amount exceeds $5,000. A violation of this law is a criminal misdemeanor, and a convicted felon faces, a convicted offender faces up to 6 months in prison. If, under the same circumstances, the child support payment is overdue for longer than 2 years, which it is, or the amount exceeds $10,000, which it does, the violation is a criminal federal felony, and convicted offenders face fines and up to 2 years in federal prison. I am begging the Department of Justice to call me, to answer my complaint, to look at the civil rights complaints I filed, but particularly just let me provide you the evidence, not only of that I have met every provision of all court orders for child support and above and beyond, and that that not only have I done that, but I have written for years just to ask his attorneys to please stop putting a roadblock to Alex's payment of that. They've received multiples of what I'm owed for fabricating false evidence in state court, and evidence to block child support, and evidence to assist to child abuse pursuant to Texas Family Code 261.002 A through D and J. And they are complicit. The court has not all. I am not against all judges and attorneys, but the attorneys and court officers in the state of Texas who have been assistive to this, and the judicial officers who have acted under true color of law to enter void orders that violate my and my children's constitutional rights, they need to be stopped. They're hurting not only me, but the state of Texas and our children and families. And they're also really hurting and endangering America by protecting a man who is engaged in serious crimes and who is under federal investigation for his involvement in insurrection, and would not have had the platform and ability to do that if they had not sealed the cases to hide his truth and character and what he sued me for and their crimes and fraud. I'm also begging the Texas Attorney General, Ken Paxton, I'm sorry, the nation is bifurcated or whatever, polarized politically because of propaganda. And everybody needs to really think about that when they're voting, and think about voting straight ticket. And I will tell you, there are good people from both parties, and everybody, particularly obviously like the Republican Party, is obviously been usurped by the alt-right, and anybody who dare speaks out against like real crimes and corruption in that party is obviously under threat and coercion, and that is a terrible thing. But Ken Paxton, you cannot assist Alex Jones by defying your oath and duty to the Constitution and to the law. Texas law mandates that parents be arrested under Texas Penal Code 25.05, criminal non-support, which I'm going to read right now. I'm going to read it right now. I'm going to pull it up and I'm going to read it. And I appreciate everybody bearing with me when I'm feeling really frightened and passionate, and having found out about this additional giant fraudulent transfer, which, my kids are not complicit in any of this. My kids are innocent victims of all of this. My son, when he was on the air on InfoWars, that is an affront to his innocence and decency, and he was abused and coerced and manipulated for years. And I'm sorry that I'm saying that if that offends anybody's sensibilities, but it's true. And because I said that, and because I said that after he said something, and that people went after him when he was like 15 years old and were threatening him with death threats and calling him horrible names. He's like a child, he never had a chance. He never got, and it's the court's fault. And so because I said that, that's also a reason why I lost my kids, for saying that my child was under programming and being brainwashed. Absolutely he was. And so if you see like a child involved in this kind of discourse, a minor child, I guarantee you, like, that child never had a chance. So I hope that everybody will. I'm sorry that I'm very upset. So I'm going to read Texas Penal Code. Um, it's an offense against the family, and it is 25.05. And it's just very simple. Attorney General Ken Paxton, responsible for upholding Texas Penal Code and protecting Texas children, the enforcer of child support for the state of Texas, your division, which has not helped me at all. And I'm owed, if you can believe this, Attorney General Ken Paxton, I'm owed $2,000 in past due monthly child support. And that is because Alex Jones, who's made as much as $800,000 in one day, has fabricated some sort of scheme where you will not withdraw the full $2,000 only that I'm awarded for child support, which doesn't even cover my child's needs, like her needs or her prescribed and necessary needs, in my opinion. And I believe it's true. I believe I can document and provide that information to you. But Texas Penal Code 2505 simply says, and it's a very simple thing, an individual commits an offense if the individual intentionally or knowingly fails to provide support for the individual's child younger than 18 years of age, or for the individual's child who is the subject of a court order requiring the individual to support the child. That's Section A. And it says, under this section, a conviction may be had on the uncorroborated testimony of a party to the offense, which means that I guess I'm a party because I'm the a victim of this offense. Like, I'm here saying, okay, here is my uncorroborated testimony, and I will read to you now what I wrote to Alex Jones's attorneys and have been writing them. And here I go. I'm just gonna pull it up. I've sent them many things today about their crimes and fraud, as I have for years. But here's what I wrote. I said, let's see. There's so many. Like, I was so upset. My child that's with me, like, she's got this amazing voice, and and she's had like 4 hours of voice lessons in her life. And after living in like a horrible situation, she came to me like 2 years ago, and after, like, she went through so much, and she still is going through so much because she's really being mistreated right now. And I don't know how to explain that without like invading her privacy, but she's been harassed and threatened and hovered over in a helicopter and denied the ability to see her own sister for years, and was accosted and called sick. And Alex said she wasn't his child and accused her